All right, so we're back with
Age of Towers, which Jeb won. No, Gary won. Who won?
I won.
Jeb won.
I broke
won.
that winning streak of Mickey's.
Oh, phew, that didn't take long.
Anyways. So you got to see a 3-player game of it, which I think right immediately once we finished it, we both agreed that...
When we tested it, when we sat down to learn the game, we almost instantly both went, it's one of those ones, yes, you can play it 2-player. It's not going to be nearly what it should be until you hit 3 and 4, in our opinion. Yeah. Because if you watch...
2-player is just like, I'm picking on you, you're picking on me. That's
it. And it's basically like who gets... As soon as somebody gets a slight upper hand, unless you go totally dead with cards and stuff like that, it's kind of hard to recover. I mean, certainly it can go back and forth.
Yeah.
And honestly, we didn't nearly laugh as hard as when somebody else was in the game. It's just, it was comical on some of the stuff was happening. I was as awful during the test game as I was in this game, because I don't care.
Like you did better in the test game.
I don't know. I don't think I had any... Did I get any victory points in the first game?
I don't remember, but I just know in this one, it's like every time you did something, like Gary or I would just fix it.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, because I'm short, right? It's kind of like the short kid coming up to the fight, and Jeb and Gary just held out their hand like this, and I'm swinging and doing nothing.
Yep.
But it was hilarious. Thumbs up from me.
Thumbs up from me as well.
It's a fun. It doesn't take that long to play. The win conditions seem like they happen pretty quick.
Once you get it rolling, I think they have it timed where once you run out of monsters in the cave, it's getting close to the game.
It's gonna get close anyways. If you've seen any of the Devil Pig other games that they have out, the components are fantastic, just like all their other stuff. The artwork's fantastic in it. And like I said, the gameplay is fun. So other than the fact is and we don't know what solo mode's like, but I would go 3-4 on this. Play time of an hour is probably accurate. 14 I feel like is a little high. I feel like you could probably somebody a little younger than 14 probably understand it.
Yeah.
Yes. Anything else about the game itself?
I had something, but it reminded me of when we played Carnage, like that kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like
totally different, but
right, but it's like I was having fun and we were screwing each other over.
Yeah.
Like Carnage is kind of like that. It's like, oh, I'm gonna mess you up, and then you're like, oh, they're messing me up now. Right. That's what Age of Towers reminded me of.
So it is if you're faint at heart and you can't handle people picking on you. As a matter of fact, this is the first time in a long time I could tell the look on Jeb's face that he was actually pissed at me. He's mad, which is usually me, which was funny, because then he just got me back anyways.
Like, I can tolerate Mickey picking on me, but him doing it like 3 turns in a row, he dedicated 3 turns to screw me over. If I hadn't had the cards to fix what he did to me, like, I would have been even
really
worse.
Been irritated. But anyways, I think what reason I was so mad is because he told me afterwards that if I hadn't done that, he had the ability to just, like, load his board with towers.
Oh, yeah.
Like, upgraded towers, too, so it would have been crazy. Anyhow, so that, if you're not a person that can handle that type of stuff, I'm being dead serious, because it does... Like, it even irritates me. I get over it quick.
It ruins your plans so bad, too.
And so if you don't like that kind of stuff, this is not the game for you. Because, that being said, it's also a game that you can get ganged up on, too.
Yeah.
There's like, no...
Nothing's built in to stop
Nothing's built in to stop that stuff. So, it's a free-for-all. So, if that's going to bug you, don't play this. If you can take that kind of stuff with a grain of salt, like... If you watch gameplay, that's what we were doing, because it was just hilarious through the whole thing, especially with how awful I did. You'll have a lot of fun with it. and again, they did a really good job. Everything fits like it's supposed to,
Yeah.
and the quality of the castles and the cardboard and the cards themselves is really good, and the whimsical art. So I think that covers most of like how the game works and if we liked it or not. So
things to remember.
Actually, even covered a little bit of
who
not to have play this game with you.
I think anybody. I don't see why.
It's not too hard to teach either.
Like, it's not going to be a 6-hour game or something. So
no, so barring all that stuff, it'd be easy to teach too. I feel like even if it was somebody wasn't picking up on the stuff right away, easy enough for you like to sit by that player and be like, all right, move this, move this, move this. This is where you're sitting now. The only thing they'd have to make the decision of doing is like, what do my castles are going to attack, if they could even attack on that turn. So easy enough to coach somebody too if you needed to. Coach in terms of, this is what you get to do now, and this is what you have to do with your monsters. You make the decision.
And then a lot of the phases are actually, everybody does this stuff simultaneously, so like while you're doing your stuff, you could just be like, hey, you should be doing this as well, stuff like that. So.
It's pretty easy with that. I don't know what else to say, because...
just things to remember, I guess.
Castles attack their own color. That's hard to get through your head until you've played it a couple times. I think you instantly, probably because of other game mechanics, think when you're in the attack phase, I have a castle on my board, it can hit something. It can't hit everything.
Right. And then also upgraded yellow, that actually does get to affect everything, not hit everything. Just its ability to be on everything.
Yep.
So there's like little things like that you just got to keep in mind.
Yeah. Destroying a tower destroys the whole tower.
And when your stuff's destroyed, your towers are destroyed, you get to draw a quest card.
Yep. Don't forget to draw the quest card, and don't forget to take your gems or crystals or whatever they're called when you capture a monster.
Right.
I guess if there was any sort of... I'm not even going to say it's a downside. I kind of found the scoring a little odd. I thought there would be
a little bit
maybe
more.
Stuff for
Something
like the
based
most
on
monsters. But when you sit back and reflect a little bit, since it's a tower defense thing, the idea is to get the most victory points on how well you kept the tower itself, I think, is what they were going for. Number of monsters that you actually counted doesn't reflect your okay, I got... I mean, they could have easily done this, but the point of
for every 3 monsters you kill, you get 1 point, or like for every set you get 2 points.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I guess where I was going with it was, since it's tower defense, keeping that guard.
Yeah, the guard is definitely
huge, and then like the big monster. I think the feel for the game is the big monster is the guy that can like mess you up.
Yeah.
The other guys are like, okay, if enough of them get through, you're not going to get points anyways.
Right.
So the big one is like, well, if you can take him out, you did enough to save your castle.
Right.
So that's why I think they went with that theme. And I mean, maybe I don't know if you think now that I've thought about it.
I agree. The guard and the monster are the big thing. So that's why I was saying, like, if you did something with like counting the monsters that you killed, I wouldn't say like 1 point for every monster. That'd be
but I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe it didn't surprise you at all, but when I saw the scoring, I was like, because a lot of these games you do get credit for killing stuff.
Yeah,
and this was
because
like,
when I was collecting all of them on my board, I was like, oh, I'm going to get something for this, and then you went over the scoring, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't get anything.
No, but what you got for it was not losing guard.
Yeah.
Because they didn't hit you.
Right.
So, and then having them separated because of the potential of something in your... so the captured ones have no chance of coming back into the game. The stuff that actually hits your castle has a chance to come back into the game.
Right.
So anyways, it makes a little more sense when I stopped and thought about it a little bit. But I did find it odd the first time I played, because it really makes you think about your strategy a little bit, because you can be like, well, wait a second, there's no reason not to let this 1 point guy get in. I should focus on that spider who's going to drop me 3.
Yep.
That type of stuff. So it really truly is about defending that tower, your personal tower, which is the other thing that we pointed out, I think, when we talked about the game, was that this is different in the fact that a lot of tower defense ones are a co-op. Everybody's trying to defend the same thing. In this, it's every man for himself, while the other kingdoms are like, here, you take this monster and you defend against it. So, again, the screw you over aspect of the game.
A couple other things to remember. Place the markers on the actions you take. Because I know we just it's only 2 actions, you take a turn, but sometimes you might get confused. I think maybe once it happened, we were like, is this the end of the round?
Once or twice. We actually make a comment in it. If it makes a video, I don't know. We actually made a comment that it's probably, like, how are you going to forget this? And then when we started playing with, especially with the third person, because somebody can take a while to think, and then you do your action, and then it feels like you're doing another action when you play the card, because it can let you do some stuff that are similar or the same as doing an action, and then you're kind of like, oh, where are we? And if you didn't place the markers, then...
Yeah, like if the first thing you do is draw 2 cards, and then you have to wait for everybody to finish, and you come around and you do an action, and you go around again, and you're like, well, I feel like all I did was 1 action. Like, drawing the 2 cards...
Doesn't feel like anything.
Like you didn't do anything on the board.
So, or at least me, I retract that comment a little bit, because it actually is a little more beneficial than I thought, particularly in the 3-player game. I found like it was easier to remember where we were when we played against head-to-head against each other.
I think I got lazy in the 3-player game and might not have put the stuff down. And then,
and the other thing that makes you lazy in it is you have in your head, especially at certain points, like when your hand's depleted, or because of what the event card did or whatever, it's like, I know I'm doing exactly these things, so I'm not going to drop these because I'm going to do the same thing twice, or whatever it is. But we would recommend that you actually do put them down, because we did find that during the game it was like, oh, wait a second, where are we? And it would have been easy enough to be like, well, I know I got 1 more turn coming because I only have 1 thing down here.
Yeah. And then the only other thing was the trophies. Like, some of them are based off of whoever builds the first 3 blue towers or red towers or yellow towers. There's no real way to remember that. You can put the little small ones.
Yeah, there's I don't even know. The token. Yeah. The token, the small tokens with your symbol on it, there are 2 extra ones. 3 extra ones?
2 extra, because one of them goes on the boss.
Right. So we were thinking that you can use those for things like, one says put a shield on a monster, and then there's, like Jeb said, there's some of the building ones. It works to an extent, but there's not a lot of them. So let's say I was on track to building the blue ones, but then I was on track to building the yellow ones. Yeah. I can mark that I was starting to do it, but there's no great way, like you said, of tracking it, because it says the first to build. It doesn't say the first to have 3 simultaneously.
That's one thing we agreed on. It's like, we don't think that you have to have 3 of the same on the field to get that one, because that's...
And I can tell you what, that's probably never going to happen in a 2-player game. Yeah. I could see it being a possibility in a 3-player game. Maybe having all 3 colors.
Yeah, because I saw Gary had like 2 reds, 2 yellows at some point, and I was like, he's 1 away from if he did that.
Yeah. So that and the destruction one has the counters. Don't forget to pass those out when something's destroyed. And then I think that everything else was pretty self-explanatory. I feel like those were maybe one of the harder things to grasp in terms of the way they described it, was the victory conditions. Not awful, But just like the build 3, what does that mean?
Yeah, they cleared that up a little bit. But, I mean, the other ones are like, have the most blue at the end of the game. That's easy enough.
I think there's one that says something about upgraded towers, too, and I don't know if it was the end of the game or if it was during either.
Yeah,
so,
we'd have to look.
But I can see this game, under the right circumstances, being real close. It was actually closer
for me and Gary.
Than Gary, and that could have come down to the victory.
Well, that's what I was worried about in the end, because if I killed the monster, I felt like that gap between me and him with victory points, and then the gap of our our guards, which he was more than me, I thought that was going to even out, and then his trophy would be the key. But then my math was a little off, so I was a little...
Not by mine, I think you were off by 2?
Yeah,
something like that. But because the difference between when Jeb stopped the game, he was a difference of 8, because Gary was on 7, I think,
and I got 15.
Jeb got 15 for actually destroying his boss monster. So anyways, we're probably rambling now. Now we're starting to talk about strategy, but if you watch any of the games that you saw, we were having a great time. Super simple game,
I want to play with all the expansion stuff, because after playing the 3-player game,
and wondering what some of the different monsters do,
the
and
bosses
stuff.
and all that stuff. Yeah,
there is a ton of content if you went all in on this Kickstarter, because remember, this was a Kickstarter.
Right.
I don't know if this hit the stores. Jeb said I
thought I saw it online.
Cool Stuff Inc. He thought he saw it, and I have no idea about the expansions, but certainly one that I not disappointed in backing. And I'll tell you, one of the reasons that I went and backed this was because of who made it and how much fun we had in Carnage. It was like a no-brainer for me. I was like, I'm going in again. Their big claim to fame is their Heroes line, like the Heroes of Normandy stuff, which is basically war miniatures with cardboard instead, where all the information is supposed to be right there. Jeb and I that's a little more complex, even though they've dumbed it down, so you should be able to do it. Who knows when we'll ever get to that, but that is their big staple. But this is fantastic. So
yeah, if you guys want to see us do any specific expansions thrown in or something, let us know, and we'll try to,
because there's like a Dark Elf, a Cthulhu, I think a zombie one.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a ton, and there's another player too, which we haven't broken out yet too.
And then other structures. So.
Yeah.
But that's about it for me.
That's all I got too.
So please subscribe, leave comments, questions, any requests for games. If you want to see something specific, let us know, and we'll
pick something I can beat Jeb in.
Not much.
It's true. Not on film anyway.
Right. All right, so
see ya.
Boards and booze, booze and boards with Mickey and Jeb.